What's up guys, this is Ben from FIXITGEARWARE-SECURITY. We are here today with another series of the Tools Friday. This series today, we're bringing you two awesome tools that is going to help you in your bug bounty hunting or pen testing events. Last week, as you know, we brought you two tools. For recon, one was EXIF tool. EXIF tool is a tool you use to recon a directory or a file that is sent to you to detect if the file is the actual file that the sender of that file claims that the file is. And the other is Spiderfoot, a tool for recon purposes that blue team and red teamers can also use in conducting recon events such as domain finders, subdomain finders, Bitcoin wallet addresses, information about a person or target, email recon, and so on. But today we're bringing something different. Today's tools is basically for bug bounty hunters. In this series today, these two tools is going to help you to determine information about a target. One is for recon and the other one is to create a payload that you send to the target to give you a reverse shell or a bind shell to the target. So after this episode today's series, you'll be able to understand how to also structure or organize your bug bounty event or pen testing event using tools. You should also note that using automation tools as a pen tester or as a bug bounty hunter, being a beginner, is not advisable. You have to learn about how web technology works, how you can recon a target. Let's say you're given a domain and you find information about a domain. How can you leverage this information? How can you actually narrow the information gotten from this target to know what specific vulnerability you have to assess in this target? So after today's series, you as a bug bounty hunter, you as a red teamer or a pen tester that is just getting into cybersecurity, will be able to understand steps or procedures to carry out an event on a target, be it bug bounty hunting or pen testing event. So let's get straight to the point. In today's tools, the first tool we're going to discuss is Whatweb. Most of you will know about this tool and most of you might just be introduced to this tool. So what is Whatweb? Whatweb is a powerful web crawler tool that allows you to easily identify technologies used on a website. It also detects configured and missing content security policies. Pen testers and bug hunters can then leverage these loopholes to determine what kind of vulnerability attack that can be conducted on the target. It is a more powerful tool compared to Wapplizer as it detects the domain names, IP addresses. So whenever you feed a domain name, be it as a text file or be it as a single domain name, Whatweb would detect the IP address of this domain name. And if you're fortunate enough that this domain is not hidden behind a CDN, then you can leverage these weaknesses and find other vulnerabilities or open services on the target using Nmap scan. Other information also that Whatweb reveals is account IDs, SQL errors on the target, and other powerful functionalities that it comes with. You will be able to know these other powerful functionalities using the help command. Whatweb also identifies cross-domain policy, which helps a bug hunter in finding subdomains. So let's say you try to scan a target with Whatweb. Whatweb will also reveal subdomains that this target is communicating to or communicating with. And cross-domain policy files, as we know, is an XML file that enables access to web services outside the web application domain. So basically, these files are created to specify what subdomains the target you're trying to pen test communicate with. Sometimes the actual target might not have a loophole, but the subdomain might have a loophole, either unpatched vulnerabilities or outdated components and other functionalities that you can leverage as a pen tester or bug bounty hunter. So using Whatweb will reveal this information that has or that is pertinent to cross-domain policy. Some organizations block these features to protect them from being exploited. For example, by default, Adobe Flash and Microsoft Silver web applications are not allowed to access web services that reside outside the domain where the application is hosted. So basically, we know Microsoft Silverlight is the .NET file that is found on every Microsoft-based operating system. The cross-domain policy has been restricted in such a way that it prevents hackers or pen testers exploiting this weakness on a target machine. Also, cross-domain policy basically is another way for you to, let's say you have a list of subdomains. You can also find other information of other subdomains that are communicating with that subdomain. So Whatweb will reveal this information, and you as a pen tester, you will now have an idea of what you actually want to do. In this series, we will not be going in depth on Whatweb, but we'll be showing you a glimpse or tricks, 1 or 2 tricks that you need to know on how to use this tool. Also, in our forthcoming pen testing paid courses, we'll be going in depth on various tools that you need to know in cybersecurity as a red teamer, as a pen tester. So be at alert, read our social media posts, join our Discord channel so you'll be aware when we post these courses as related to pen testing. It's going to be a paid course, not a free course. And we'll be teaching you steps and methodologies on how you can conduct pen testing on a target and leverage this information to your own benefit. To install Whatweb, you need to use the sudo apt install, then the package name, which is the Whatweb, and very easy to install, very easy to use. The next tool we're going to discuss is the Revshells. Revshells is a very powerful tool. You might ask, what is Revshells? Revshells stands for reverse shell. This tool has an awesome GUI on the web that allows pen testers to generate reverse shell codes for the target they desire to exploit. The pen tester can then decide to set up whatever platform they desire to listen over. For example, you can use Netcat Listener or whatever platform that you have created on your Kali box or window box and listen over this communication once the payload that you have created with the Revshell has been executed by the target. To be able to auto-generate the Revshell payload, visit Revshells.com. First, we get our Kali box fired up. And today we have 2 domains we'll be using to demonstrate for Whatweb, and these domains will be blurring them out because we have tried these domains ourselves and we know they are very vulnerable. So this is just for demo purposes. That's the reason why we're going to blur out these domains. Now let's get our terminal fired up. So first we launch our terminal. To install Whatweb, we'll say sudo apt install, or you can use apt-get, then the package name is Whatweb. We have it installed already, so we would have this sudo auto remove responses in our terminal. Now to use Whatweb on a target, let's pick a target in our list of targets to demo today. We have this website, and we wouldn't be calling the name out, so we're blurring this content out. To use Whatweb, you have to specify a few commands. The first thing you want to do, you say Whatweb -verbose. Of course, you should know what verbose means if you're a pentester or you're a bug hunter. Then -a or -a. This is for aggression. So Whatweb has 3 types of aggression. Aggression 1, 3, and 4. Most times the 4 takes a lot of time. I will always advise to use 3. 3 is okay, so it can scan in depth about the target. 1, I don't use 1 and I don't know much about 1, but 3 is my go-to. So I specify aggression to be 3 or aggressiveness to be 3. Then you specify the URL of the target. So we paste the target here and we enter. And we just wait for Whatweb to do its stuff. Just very simple. It's not that too elaborate for today, but there are other powerful functionalities that Whatweb can conduct. We'll be describing this in our paid courses that will be coming up soon. So if you see this right now, the first thing we want to do is, when Whatweb provides information about a target, the first thing you want to do is to check the status code. So 200 OK means fine, our target is live and it's OK. Title, we found information about the target, which is this. We'll be blurring this out as well. Furthermore, the IP of our target is displayed. We'll also be blurring this information out. And the country of location is US. On the email, we can find the organization internal email to communicate with them. Of course, it's on the website. We've already seen this. And we can see script, that certain functions of the website uses a JavaScript. And if we scroll down further, we can see frame. They use an iframe. The HTML document is version 5. The server, we didn't get any information about the server, but it's okay. The script, JSON script detected on the target. Then common headers, powered by version. We can view the stats from here. Okay, let's click this link, copy link, and let's launch our browser. Let's see something. And we'll say paste and go. It's not functional. The domain name is not functional. HTTP stats, let's see. Okay, I think we made a mistake. Let's try this. Okay, the website is not active. We can leave that. And if we scroll down, we can see this information. And we go. Now, if we check the access protection, which is for cross-site scripting, the mode is blocked. Okay. And now we move further to the HTTP headers. We can see status code. So control no cache. Now there's something we can see. A lot of content security policies are not here. We can only see the X-frame options. We can see the content type, no sniff. Okay. So it's secured. Okay. XSS protected. So the next thing we do as a pen tester or as a bug bounty hunter, the next thing you have to do, just simple tricks. Pick your target, copy the link, and just go to security headers and scan the target. We've done this before. We're also going to blur this out just for safety reasons, and we click on scan. Let's see. And now we see the score. The report summary score is C, showing that not every of the security headers are configured or set. So the first thing we have to go and see is, okay, these are the ones that are here. Is there anyone missing? Okay, now we check on the missing headers. We can see strict transport security policy. It's an excellent feature to support your site and strengthen your implementation of TLS. So basically, we know TLS is like SSL. So it means this website can be downgraded to HTTP. And of course, information can be sniffed. Then the content security policy is missing. Means there's a possibility we can still try XSS attacks on this target. And permission policy is not that too strong. If you're not providing an API services, so there's no need of you setting this one. But the major thing is that two of the security headers are missing. Strict transport security policy means this website traffic can be sniffed because HTTPS is not enforced. And for the content security policy, we can try XSS. So let's not just go deep. We'll be teaching more about in our pen testing premium series. The next thing we want to do right now is we go back to the what information Whatweb gave us, and we can see that we got an IP. Now, what comes to our mind right now, we still scroll down, we read a lot of information, and we did not see anywhere there is a CDN services. So CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. This is basically a service where people can hide their real IP addresses from the public to ensure that the public doesn't have access or information about their IP address. Because if I have your actual IP address of your website or domain name, all I need to do is just fire up my Nmap scan and scan for other services to see if there is SSH open and other type of services that can run on a web server. And in some cases, most of those services do not have strong authentications or strong usernames and password. I can now decide to brute force and see information that I can leverage as a pen tester or as a bug bounty hunter. So this is just very simple. Your success rate in bug bounty or in hacking is dependent on your steps. If you use the wrong steps, it's kaboom. You would always be like you've not been finding bugs. But if you have a structure of what you're doing, clean shots, easy wins, and earning, no matter how big or small the rewards are, at least you have this mindset that you set out, look out for something, and you get the result. Now, the next thing we need to do is, we have gotten the IP, right? Let's just go to whois and do a simple lookup on this target. So whois, where are you? We open this and we just put the IP address here. We're blurring this out as well. Let's copy the IP address. Sorry about that. It's been a very long day, very exhausting day. So let's go back to whois. We put the IP address and we click whois. And if we scroll through the information sent back to us, we can see the net name is this. And wow, direct allocation. So this IP address is directly allocated to this organization, which we are pen testing. And we look further. Let's look for the name servers. It's very important to see for the name servers. Is there a name server? Let's see. Where are your name servers? You should have a name server, right? Okay, we got the IP. We can scan the IP to see information about the target. Let's look for the domain. Let's get the domain instead of the IP. So we copy the domain, we copy link, and we put this. We should have the name servers right now. Good, yeah. So now we put the domain name, and you can see we see the name servers. This name servers basically tells us that this target is open to the public. You might ask, how do we know that this target is open, IP address is open to the public? We know common CDN providers such as Akamai, Bonisnet, Cloudflare, and so on. And the most commonly used ones are Akamai and Cloudflare. When you try to make or do a lookup of a domain name and you don't see things like that, you should know that, okay, this domain has a little bit vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Let's see what this big10.com usually should be a hosting company. We click paste and go. We'll also be blurring out these name servers because it's assigned to that organization. And now we find an information about this. We say it's hybrid. Okay, let's see if they have their hosting company. Let's copy this. We say, okay, the next thing you want to do is to find this. If you're not sure if a target is a hosting company, just copy the domain name and just do a simple search. It's very simple. It's not that difficult. We just say a hosting company. Let's see. Good. Now we've done this before. We just want to show it block. And now we can click this to see something about this organization. Okay, we go back. Let's see this. Okay, it's a virtual hosted private cloud tailored to your needs. So now this tells us something about that. These guys are cloud service providers, and basically, of course, they're a hosting company. Now we can see something like this. It's a web hosting. You see, check. Website Planet also reviewed this and they have a star rating of 4.4. So this is part of recon, this is part of information gathering. So we can click on this to see. And it's just recently, their server locations is in the US. Out of 3,000 plus, they are considered 460. So now, and this is the website to confirm. So now we know that, okay, this is a hosting company and this is a web server or website server. So what the next thing we want to do right now, we fire up our Nmap. We can now decide to scan to see if there are SSH that this organization that is using this hosting company used to do some configuration on the back end. And it's just that simple. Then if we want to go more advanced, we can now decide to look for subdomains of the organization we just try to get information about. That will not be going in depth in this series because we just want to demonstrate a few things about tools and how you should chain your tools to conduct your penetration testing. Also, we can do other targets. There's another target we want to do just to show you information, how to know to leverage a target. For instance, we copy this other guy. We're blurring these guys out as well. We found a few things about them which we do not want you to, see. The next thing I want to do is, okay, we just paste this domain here right now. Oh my goodness. It's always like this with this text editor. Control C. And just right click and paste. Okay, good. Now our domain is now in here. We just click enter. Wait for the result. Very fast, very simple. It is always advisable to use the verbose tree. For sometimes will take a lot of time and you might just get frustrated and close the terminal. Now let's scroll up. This guy, we find information about them, 200 OK, their IP address. Oh, now when we see the reserved, there's no country name. That means there's something suspicious about this target. This guy's probably be hiding behind or CDN provider. So let's see. Now, going further, we can see cookies, right? We see the PHP session ID. So this gives us an insight that, okay, this target actually runs the server based on PHP. Later on, I will tell you why this is very important. And we scroll further again. Okay, they have JavaScript. We can try to scan for JavaScript. Then we go down further. Of course, this is an email address. Now you see it's Cloudflare. As you can see from the string server, it tells us that these guys are using Cloudflare. So basically the IP we have up there is nothing that can be used. And they have a very strong configuration. But do not be deceived. Now if we go through, we can see that there's no content security policy here. The next thing you want to do is this. This is how hacking is done. You find information, then find a way to leverage those information. Go back to Smart Security header, and we can decide to put the domain here. We'll be blurring this out. Let's see. And wow, the summary report returns an F, means there is no configuration in terms of the security header. And I'm pretty sure they just hide behind Cloudflare. What if we find a way to bypass information directly from the website? Let's just assume that, okay, it's not just this, it's telling us that this website is PHP based. We can find a way to upload file. And this website, they're in the service industry. Definitely there will be a way we can brute force some paths to upload files. Hacking is not about running automation tools. Have a structure, have a skill, know about a lot of vulnerabilities, know how to use a lot of tools. That's the truth. Then have your own concept. If you really want to learn how to hack a target, do not miss out on our penetration testing course. It's a very, very, very awesome course, and it's going to be one of the best out there when we launch it. So be at alert, follow our social medias, and always look out for that. With this right now, we can now leverage this target, thinking of checking for XSS, checking for SQL, blind SQL and all that, or checking for CSRF. This information alone is enough for us to find a way to exploit this server directly and execute code remotely. And once we can take over this server and exploit RCE on it, that's it. We take out the business offline. We can even delete the web pages, do a lot of things, or even monitor other information, such as if there are credit card information stored in the database and all that. So it's very simple. This is how you can hack an organization. One of the steps on how you can conduct a penetration testing. Have a structure. Don't just jump, start testing vulnerabilities. Like I said again, in our penetration testing advanced course, we'll be teaching you how to know the particular vulnerability to exploit on a specific target. So if let's say you're in the login form, you don't just test only SQL and brute forcing attacks. There are a lot of things we can do there. And this is just based on how you can chain those procedures to have high impact. And also you can report these multiple vulnerabilities. And if there are good organizations out there who really pay out their bounties, you definitely make a bag out of it. So that's it for Whatweb. We won't go deeper about this organization. We just want to show you a tip on how we can use Whatweb to leverage information. And you can see Waplizer might give us information like this or might not. But we are not demonstrating Waplizer today. And we just want to show you how you can use Whatweb to get information out of a target and use this information to your own advantage. So without further ado, let's go to the next tool for today, which is Revshells. I'm a big fan of Revshells. I don't really need to start searching on Google. I know what I'm doing with Revshells. So yep, it's always on my box. So this is a simple way of Revshell. Revshell has a good user interface. UI is cool. And you can do a lot of things with Revshell. So let's say we want to generate a reverse shell. Revshell definitely is also, of course, is reverse shell generator. This IP is our IP address, and this port number is the port number we want to listen on. Then our listener, definitely, if you're a Pentester, everybody uses Netcard. But there are other things you can use here. You can use PowerCard, you can use SoCard, but you can even use MFS console. And if you're Windows, instead of NC, you just use this. You select this. But it's very simple. This is just, you just copy this code and just put it in your terminal and execute it by hitting the enter key, and that's it. But this is where the main thing comes right now. Let's say we want to generate a reverse shell for a Windows-based system. We select the Windows, right? So do we want to send a file that's an executable file, or we want to send a code? For instance, right now, you remember when we scanned the target with Whatweb, we saw that they use PHP. So what I'm going to do right now is I'll just come down here and I'll say, okay, we want a command shell on the PHP server, right? So we can just say PHP command. And this is the code. And here you can select what you want. Do you want a bin bash or do you want a CMD terminal? Let's say the server is Linux based, then we can use bin bash. But if it's Windows based, then we can say CMD. But here is the trick. Most websites would sanitize you from executing the CMD command, aside not being able to execute certain files in certain directories. So what you need to do right now, you just come here, you click this, you put it to C. So most cases C is not removed or sanitized. Then you copy this code. Oh, sorry, we made a mistake here also. You remove the C. Then this code, we are specifying that we want a CMD, of course. That's what we want, command prompt. This is a reverse shell code to obtain a reverse shell of the command prompt on your terminal. You can decide that, okay, fine, I want to encode this. You can encode it as a URL. You can encode it to base 64. You can double encode URL. In this case, let's just encode in base 64. Then you just click on copy. If you click on raw, it's going to show you the code. This is the code, right? But we encoded it right now. And if we go back, this is what you will see. But when you execute this file on the server, the raw code that will execute is this. This is the raw code that will execute. So let's go to none. Okay. And we put this to be what? C. And we say encode to base 64. Another good thing again is that if you encode, then there's no problem. You can always leave the CMD like that, but it's advisable to just leave it to C and just copy this code. The next thing you want to do is just come here, create a new file, and you put those content here. And of course, we are targeting a PHP server. We save as, say Ctrl S. Then we decide to save on our, new folder. Then we call it, now this is another trick again you have to know. Before you upload this file, go to the source code of the server that is capable of file upload and detect what type of file name it's acceptable. If you put a file name that is not acceptable, this file is going to bounce. So apart from encoding your payload, you also have to find a way to brute force the directory to know what type of file names that can be uploaded to that directory. So let's say, okay, the target says we can upload Bing Bong file. So we can just say, okay, Bing, or we can just say Bing Bong. Then the file extension definitely is going to be PHP if that's what is stated. But if it's not PHP, whatever file extension you are told to put, you put it. Let's say it accepts only JPEG, right? You can just say php.jpg. And it accepts only PHP, you just put PHP and you just save the file. And oh, where's the file? It's supposed to save on our desktop. I think we saved in the wrong directory. Okay, let's just say file, save as. Okay, let's come to desktop. Oh, okay, we come to desktop instead of new folder, right? We come to desktop and we say save. Now you can see here, we saved it in the wrong directory before. And as you can see, we have the file here. The next thing you want to do is just find a way to go to your target and upload this file, then navigate to the directory and execute this file by going to the /path of this PHP. So let's say the target is xyz.com. You can just say xyz.com, xyz.com, uploads. Let's say that's where the file is, right? /bingbong.php. Okay, and of course we're going to append some code. Like once you just click this, the file will execute. Then you can append some code like C, get C and all that, or who am I, C equals to who am I, C equals to ID and stuff like that. And you've gotten a Revshells. But difference is that once you execute this file, clicking like this, executing this file from the directory, we do not need to do all those commands on the browser, because right now on Revshells we have been given on Revshells, let's Revshells. We have been given this code. We just say, okay, we are listening over this. So this is the command we do. Usually I just know what to do. Just is netcat minus lv np, then the port number. But it's simple. Revshells has given you the code. You just come here, you right click and you just paste. So this is netcat. We're saying they are listening over netcat, which is minus L. The port, listening via port this, verbose, which is V. Then if we click enter, and we go to the browser and execute this bing bong whatever file it is that we have uploaded to the server, we should be receiving a response here on our terminal. And that's how you can, easily get a Revshells. Very simple. By getting information of the target, viewing those information to have an idea of what the target runs. So if you are able to upload a file to the target to obtain a Revshells, you can now execute on the target. So this is how it is done. And this tool is very simple. This is how you can change this tool to, leverage your target. In addition, this is one beautiful thing about it again. Let's say you use Whatweb and you didn't get much information. You go to security headers, no much information. Now you can now fire up your Wapplizer plugin. Wapplizer can now tell you possible things that are running on the target, like JavaScript, what version and all that. You can now find exploit codes on how to leverage those versions. Secondly, also, do not always trust these responses as well, because some web designers or web experts are very, very, very sophisticated. They can manipulate information that are being displayed to you as the pen tester. So you might think that, okay, this is actually the JavaScript version that is running there, whereas that's a false data that Wapplizer is catching based on the back-end configurations. So it's very simple. Pen testing is very simple, but as well, it's very difficult. You have to know a lot of stuff. So if you really want to learn about pen testing, do not miss our pen testing premium courses. But first, we're going to produce our cybersecurity course, which is no lab, just introduction for beginners, intermediates, or junior cybersecurity experts who really want to learn a lot of things about cybersecurity. And then next, programming course, paid courses as well. And after that, we are going to fire up on how to design a web application and secure a web application from attacks and vulnerabilities. In that paid course, you'll be learning how to configure security headers, email servers, setting up firewalls, your CDN, how to make your CDN so secure even that you're using the free services, and a lot of stuff we'll be teaching you. Do not miss that series. This series we are fired up for this year, and we'll be teaching you a lot of good stuff. They might come a bit expensive because whatever we are going to teach you is something you can be proud of to boast to the public and say, this is the project, this is what you can do. But do not look at the cost. The most important thing you should be looking at is what you're going to benefit from this and what you're going to learn from this. So do not miss the paid courses when we publish them, and we'll be telling you the platform will be publishing this course. So do not miss out. Always keep up to date by following our various social medias, join our Discord, and you will have a lot of things to learn from us. Even in our free stuffs, we'll be teaching you a lot of good stuff. Next week, tool series is going to be how to set up a pen testing lab. We wouldn't be telling you anything about any tools next week. We'll be showing you how to set up your pen testing lab step by step, installing the virtual machine, installing your Linux distro of your choice, Ubuntu or Kali via the .iso file, or importing an existing configured box via the .ovf file. This stuff will be teaching you, breaking it down next week. The video might be long, as we'll be breaking it down for you, be a newbie or being an expert, how to set up everything step-by-step configuration. So without further ado, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, turn on notification bell so you'll be notified when next we post our videos or content. And if you find this video interesting as well, leave a comment in the comment section. Tell us what we need to improve in our content. Is it based on the quality of the stuff or whatever thing that you just feel like it's important that you want us to fix? Put your comments below. And what else? See you in our next video next week. Bye.